Let's recap NXT this week. We had Miles Bourne take on Dion Lennox for the North American Championship. There was a lot of interference from Dark State. However, Miles Bourne was able to retain. It looks like they're going to play this back next week with another member of Dark State trying to take on Miles Bourne. We're going to have to see how this goes. But, anyways, probably going to be more of the same. We also had Joe Hendry take on Kianu Carver. Joe Hendry did lose this match. However, I think that was kind of a given because he's going to be on Raw next week. So I wonder if we're going to see Joe Hendry possibly be called up. I think for a while now, a lot of people are wanting to see him, right? Say his name and he appears. We want to see him on the main roster. I think it was already overdue. So possibly that is why they made him lose. It was a great match, but ultimately Kianu Carver came out on top. We then had a teaser for Lizzie Rayne, who's going to be joining NXT and making her debut the next week. I'm really liking her vibes. It's definitely giving you like 80s, 70s wrestling rocker kind of thing. Think Cyndi Lauper, think Sensational Sherry. Her uncle, I believe, was also the drummer. Well, her late uncle was the drummer for Iron Maiden. So I think that's going to be really cool. It'd be cool to see some like Easter eggs of Iron Maiden throughout her gear, or maybe not. They might completely disconnect it, but regardless, I think it's going to be a fun debut to watch next week. Hopefully, promising starts for her. Lexis King defeated EK Prosper to become the new Speed champion. Of course, though, he was helped out by Birthright. I like that faction. It's really showing, new generational superstars, but hopefully, they can do a little bit more with them. I think winning the Speed Championship was a step in the right direction for that. My favorite match of the night was definitely the next one. It was Tatum Paxley versus Blake Monroe in a casket match for the North American Championship. And there was all kinds of cool spots. There was the part where Blake put Tatum through a child's like dollhouse. I thought that was really cool and unique. But there was everything, right? From fire extinguisher to other weapons being used throughout the match. Now, one thing that was really, really cool was how it ended. We thought Blake had put Tatum away, but when the casket closed, the half fake championship that Blake's been sporting was in there. So she took it out, and Tatum was able to stop the casket from closing with the title. So when Blake went to grab the title, it dragged Tatum back out, and diamonds were thrown onto the ring just like you would thumbtacks. And that was basically the end. Tatum was able to capitalize with that and retain her North American Championship. We then had a very nice promo from Lola Vice saying that it is now Vice City, right? It's going to be her reign, and she wants to elevate the NXT Women's Championship, and I think she definitely can. Izzy Damden came out with the culling, and it looks like she's going to be the next try and challenge Lola Vice. Later in the evening, Lola Vice did say she's going to have some equalizer for the culling. My guess, I'm only guessing this, but I'm wondering if it's going to be Damian Priest and R-Truth as Lola Vice and Damian are together. I think that would just make, that would make sense. He's also from NXT, and I think it would just be cool. It'd be a cool thing to see the tag champs on NXT. So we'll have to see soon. I would assume that that's going to happen. But Lola Vice did say she has an equalizer for the culling. The last match was Sol Ruca versus Zaria in a last women's standing match. There was a lot of cool spots. Zaria put Sol Ruca through the announce table. There was some, there was the garbage cans and kendos that were used. That was crazy. There was also Sol Ruca speared Zaria through like that stage that's on the side of the NXT ring. I don't know what you actually call that, but like the stage where sometimes people come up and they talk on top of that. And in the end, that's where the two of them ended up being. At the very end, when we thought Sol Ruca was gonna win, she was basically holding on to Zaria's hands, who was falling towards the table. It almost felt like Simba and Scar from The Lion King, but this time Soul actually brought her back in, and as soon as she did that, I'm like, girl, you just made a big mistake. And that's exactly what happened. Zarya basically turned it around, threw her down, and that was the end. But that makes sense to me, as Soul is now on Raw, and it looks like she might insert her way into maybe the picture with Liv and Stephanie Vaquer, if that's even still a thing. I'm not sure, but she definitely proved herself against Liv this past week on Raw. So we're going to have to see how that goes. But that is your recap for NXT this week. Let me know what you thought, and I will be back with some more wrestling reactions, recaps, and news. So make sure to follow, and I'll catch all you amazing humans on the next one.